When I used to go up for castings, when I was about 13, 14, the spec for the casting would be English rose. My photograph would be sent off by my agent, which meant I looked acceptable. I could possibly be English rose, you know. And I'd walk in and the director would say, "Where's your name from?" And I'd say, "From Jordan." And he'd say, "Oh, no, 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 we're looking for someone who's English, who's been brought up here." And I am. I think the name Sawalha, I could be wrong, means the righteous ones. Isn't that brilliant? He said the camels were on heat.
Should we talk a bit about osteoarthritis?
Yes, do.
Subject. Now, he's got it.
Yeah.
He's got it. And I've got this.
Actress Julia Sawalha is best known for her roles in Absolutely Fabulous and Pride and Prejudice.
And he was a GP for 3 years on BBC One's Dangerfield, and he has a bit of a connection with City.
Her sister Nadia presents a daily television show. Today, their father is a surprise guest.
This is classic. Wherever we go, he's sat like that with his knees out. He loves these knees.
No, that's enough.
Nadim Sawalha is also an actor. He came to London from Jordan in the 1950s to study drama. There he met Roberta, Julia's English mother.
I went to Italy, you know, asked to go for a week to practice riding camels. When we got there, we discovered that the camels were circus camels, and every time we approached them, they did the foxtrot.
I have always grown up feeling Arabic and English, and because I knew more of my Arabic family when I was younger, I'm really interested in finding out about my mum's side of the family. Who is that?
Look, that's the grandmother that you're really like.
Oh no, do you know what I was going to say? She's really lovely.
Oh.
She's really lovely.
I bet you've seen that photo before.
I haven't, honestly. That's her though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's her?
Yes. They always said that they were French. And the name was French, Duboc.
Duboc?
Yeah. That's her name. And they always said that they came over with the Huguenots, but I don't know about that.
What are the Huguenots?
Not quite sure. A lot of them came over, I think, at the end of the 1700s.
Is it just a name or is it a title?
I think it's a religious
is it?
group, yeah. And they must have been escaping from something, I think.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
So you'd like to find out if that's true?
Yeah. Be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
All I've ever heard is that they came from France.
Well, is that something you'd like to find out?
I'd love to know about that, because I really want to think I'm French.
Will you be disappointed if you're not French?
Well, I won't believe it.
To prove her mother's French heritage, Julia must start her research with her great-grandmother Gladys Duboc, who may be descended from Huguenots.
I felt a bit bad, really, that I'd never asked my mum anything about her family. And the fact that my mum has never said anything, does that mean she thought we wouldn't be interested? And we're both so fascinated in the past and in history that I can't believe we've never discussed anything before. It's ludicrous. So I really want to find out some stuff for her.
Searching for Huguenot ancestry is very popular, but hard to prove.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, yeah.
Julia.
Pleased to meet you.
Hi,
I'm Michael
nice
Gandy.
to meet you.
Julia hopes that specialist researcher Michael Gandy will give her a few clues on where to begin.
You're the man that's going to tell me what I need to know. I don't even know what a Huguenot is.
A Huguenot was a French Protestant. And in the 1500s and 1600s, about 10% of the population of France was Protestant. But in 1685, King Louis XIV made it illegal to be Protestant. And therefore they had to convert. And a lot of them didn't want to convert and therefore left the country over the next few years. So between 1680 and 1700, to put it roughly, perhaps about 250,000 people left France for the various Protestant countries of Northern Europe. And of course they are the group from which we get the word refugee.
Oh,
They're the people,
really?
because réfugié is the French word for what they were.
I see.
And we don't use the word in this country before their arrival. Huguenots were of all different classes.
Now she knows what a Huguenot is. What should Julia look for to prove she's descended from French refugees?
On the other hand, just because the name looks French
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean they have to be Huguenots.
Yes, because I've got the name Duboc.
Do you know roughly where she lived?
No, I haven't got a clue.
Well, Huguenots settled in particular places, and in London we would expect them to be either in Soho or that area. And in the East End, it's on the whole Bethnal Green and Spitalfields.
Most Huguenots were artisans, clockmakers, silversmiths, or silk weavers. Julia's come to the family record centre to search for clues. Craftsmen living in Soho or Spitalfields in East London.
84. Yes.
She starts with Gladys Duboc's birth certificate.
June, March. It's not here.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for April 1884, and I need 80k. Duboc. Yes. All right, it's spelt with a K. Oh, what's that? Oh, do I? Thank you. I'm glad you're here. So, June. Are you having much luck with yours?
Not bad, not bad. What's trying to say? Gladys's birth certificate reveals details of her parents, Eliza and James Duboc.
Her father was a letter sorter, which I suppose is a postman, and they lived in South Hackney. Proper Cockney. Brilliant. Proper Cockney.
So Gladys's parents weren't craftsmen, but they were from the East End. Julia goes back another generation to Gladys's grandparents.
William Duboc married Rose Hannah September the 9th. William was 21, his wife was 23, Rose Hannah, and his father, who's also called William Duboc, was a weaver, which is a good sign.
Julia has traced 6 generations to find her first Huguenot lead. Gladys's great-grandfather William Duboc was a craftsman, a weaver living in Spitalfields in the mid-19th century. Census returns should give Julia more details about William and his family. She begins in 1881, when William was 61.
Duboc. Head. 61. Oh, he's a grocer and cheesemonger. So, am I looking at the right Duboc? Well, I thought he was a weaver.
William did appear as a weaver on an earlier certificate, so Julia checks the 1851 census.
Aha! Silk weaver. So he's a silk weaver? Yes.
By 1851, the British silk industry employed over 100,000 people. The most accomplished were the master weavers. They contracted out work to less skilled weavers like William, who were not well paid. William worked at home on a hand loom for over 14 hours a day. The items he produced were for the upper classes and people of court. As the saying went, "We are all Adam's children, but silk makes the difference." Now she knows William was a weaver, Julia wants to see real examples of the kinds of silks he might have produced. Edwina Ehrman is the textile curator at the Museum of London.
Hi, Julia. I'm Edwina. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So we're going to go down to the costume store,
Yeah.
which is right down in the basement of the museum.
Okay.
Downstairs we have women's wear. And it's either hanging from rails, as you can see, or it's in cupboards.
God, it's like they're ghosts hanging off these rails.
We're going to go under
eerie.
here.
My mum and me, we just love things like this. I mean, my mum would cry if she saw this. Oh my
If
God.
I show you the back,
Oh,
then you
look
can
at that.
see how lovely the fabric is.
Oh.
And if you can imagine that she's wearing little hoops, and that will really show the full breadth of the fabric and just show how pretty it is.
Swishing through corridors. Look at that. See, it doesn't look like this has been woven on a loom. It looks like it's almost been hand.
Often in descriptions of these dresses, they're described as embroidered, but they're not.
Right.
They are woven, not embroidered.
Yeah. You just would have felt so special if you'd worn this.
Very happy, actually.
Yeah.
These shoes here are made from silk woven in Spitalfields just down the road. And they may have been made to match a dress, or they may just have been made with the leftover silk from a dress, because you can see that the pattern on the toes doesn't match. You can see that here on these ones, they have the same design on the toe. They've got these fantastically pointed toes.
But you wouldn't be able to walk in those at all, would you?
Well, you didn't walk outside in them. They're kind of party shoes.
Past.
So if you were going to go to court wearing these shoes, or go to an assembly or a ball, your sedan chair would pick you up in the hall of your home, and then you'd be taken into a covered area where the ground was dry, so that the shoes couldn't be damaged at all. And although they look black now, these threads, they are silver threads, and so you have to imagine it, how much they'd sparkle. And people, of course, had ankle-length skirts, and so your shoes occasionally twinkle out from beneath your skirts.
Beautiful.
So you get this wonderful effect.
William was living in East London in the 1860s, 200 years after the Huguenots began to arrive.
Hi. Hi, Mike.
Julia.
Nice to meet you.
You too, you too.
So to trace her family further back, Julia has enlisted the help of historian Mike Berlin. Mike has discovered that the William who later became a grocer wasn't the only weaver in the family.
Now, that William was the son of another William, who was born also in Bethnal Green, and he was also a silk weaver. We know he's married in Stepney. That William was the son of Peter du Boc,
Right.
who was born, we think, in 1723. We're not sure at all the date of his death, 1794, in Bethnal Green.
Right.
And the important point was he was also a silk weaver. So you've got, if you look at the map, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 generations
Right.
in the trade.
William's great-grandfather Peter du Boc was a silk weaver in the early 18th century. It looks likely that Julia's family are descended from Huguenots. And she's closing in on the 1680s. when most of the Huguenots began to arrive from France.
I wonder if they were sort of quite well known as silk weavers, as there were so many generations of them. Oh, the Dubocs, yes, they're very good.
Quite possibly, but you have to imagine that when these buildings were up, there were literally 10,000 people working in the silk trade.
When Julia's relatives lived here, the clacking of the looms from the weavers' lofts could be heard in the streets below. The Huguenot silk weaving community grew up around Spitalfields just outside the city walls. The area was cheap and away from the controls of the city guilds. There was already a weaving community here, but the growing number of Huguenot immigrants with their superior skill transformed the industry. By the mid-18th century, the area had become one of the greatest weaving centres in Europe.
As today, it's a Bangladeshi community. This would have been a very strongly French community. You have to imagine Peter's walking down the street, he would have seen French signs, the smell of French food, French being spoken, French music being played. They were very interested in all sorts of different cultural pursuits in addition to their working lives. A lot of the things that are said to be quintessentially English or quintessentially Cockney, such as the love of flowers, that is said to derive from the Huguenot. The other thing is the love of songbirds, because the Huguenot were known for their love of songbirds and would go out in the fields catching songbirds.
In the heart of Spitalfields, an old weaver's house has been restored to evoke the lives of silk weavers across 150 years. From William Duboc's era to when Peter was weaving 3 generations earlier.
Hi, good morning.
Hi,
I'm
Julia.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Downstairs depicts the early 18th century, when Peter was part of a prosperous industry.
This is fab. I mean, I would like to live like this. It's a songbird. Hello. Strange smell. It's so peaceful, just with that clock ticking and the bird.
As she walks up the stairs, Julia travels forward 150 years to the mid-19th century, when Peter's great-grandson William was last recorded as a weaver.
So this room I'm in is William's time, which is very different.
By this time, the industry was in turmoil. The weaving process had been mechanized, and a commercial treaty with France in 1860 lifted a ban on imported silk. The effect on London's silk weavers was devastating.
The poverty and distress of these people at this time are inconceivable. Very generally, a family in every room with very little bedding, furniture or clothes. The few rags on their backs comprise the principal part of their property. It is not in the power of language to describe their long and continued miseries, not brought on by idleness, intemperance or a dissolute course of life, but human wretchedness, absolutely produced by want of employment.
By 1860, over 2/3 of weavers were out of work. The area that was once home to a thriving community became one of the worst slums in London. William was forced to abandon the trade that 4 generations of his family had done before him.
You see those silks and you just imagine quite a glamorous lifestyle. And what must you have imagined when you were weaving those silks? What rich lady was going to wear this silk? Have to come down from that attic and watch your master weaver come and take it from you and drop your shillings into your hand and walk back into this room. Must you have imagined the balls and where that piece of silk was going to go?
Many weavers went to work at the docks or for the new Great Eastern Railway. William became a grocer. Others were less fortunate and ended up in the workhouse. Julia's received news from genealogist Michael Gandy. He's had a breakthrough.
Dear Julia, please find herewith the information you have requested. It's good news. I found out that Peter Duboc is the son of Pierre and Esther Duboc. Pierre was born in Canterbury. His father was Daniel Duboc, a religious refugee who came to England at the end of the 17th century, and he came from a town called Luneray. So your mother's family is from Normandy in northern France.
So finally, Julia has proof of her mother's French ancestry. The Duboc silk weavers are all descended from Peter's grandfather, Daniel Duboc, who fled to England in the 17th century from Luneray in northern France.
Hello, Mum.
Yeah?
I've got some news for you.
Yeah?
We're going to see where your ancestors come from.
What's that?
Wait for it. Normandy.
No.
Well, would you like to come to Normandy with me?
No.
You'd like to, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
All right, well, pack your bag.
Julia's ancestor, Daniel Duboc, was living in Luneray in the mid-17th century, when 10% of the population were Protestant.
He might be one of the family.
Je peux vous offrir une petite pizza salée?
Salée?
Découpée à l'apéritif, jambon, fromage.
Oui, pourquoi pas. Merci beaucoup.
In the 1680s, 200,000 Huguenots fled France for Protestant countries in Europe. Daniel was one of 50,000 who headed for England. Robert Mallet is also of Huguenot descent.
Hello there. Well, it's fabulous to see you.
His ancestors stayed in Normandy.
Meeting you.
Hi, Mum.
Bobby, you're wonderful.
Hello.
Well, on behalf of the Protestant Huguenot community, I'm glad to welcome you. I put my special tie of Huguenot, you see. We did a lot of research to tell you what happened then.
Thank you.
I can't believe it.
Oh!
Welcome.
Robert takes Julia and her mother to the Protestant church. It was razed to the ground just before Daniel left Luneray and not rebuilt for 100 years.
And well, just pretend you're getting married. And here, pom 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 pom.
This is a beautiful place. So, here we are.
In 1685, Catholic Louis XIV banned Protestants from practicing their religion and stripped them of their civil rights. Their marriages were not recognized, and their children were considered illegitimate.
And the worst, their children were kidnapped and put in jails, in convent, to be educated as Catholic, which was pretty bad. So they were pretty afraid if they would stay here that they would lose entirely all contact with their children. So they will actually lose their children. So you imagine what it was for a mother. Well, this is something, eh? Yeah.
It is
That's
creepy.
Tough. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah,
That's really tough. Yeah.
That's horrible.
So now let's explain why Daniel had to go.
Why they left.
Or his son, why they left. It was just impossible to go on anymore. If they were leaving, they were losing all their belongings.
Yes.
Their wealth is absolutely,
didn't have
it
much,
was
did they?
taken by the state. I mean, by the
It
royal.
must have been very hard to make that decision to
Well,
stay
it's exile.
or go.
It's an exile. You leave everything you have behind.
Yeah.
It's just exile, and you will never see your parents again.
And they knew that they wouldn't come back, probably.
Well, they knew it was impossible,
Yeah.
or they would be put in jail or even killed.
After their church had been destroyed, the Protestants in Luneray continued to worship in secret, in fields or in private houses.
This way?
Yeah.
This way from here, dear.
All Protestant rituals were illegal. Even burials had to take place in secret.
It is privately owned in a way that it's still hidden,
Yeah.
and we don't show it to many people, you see.
If the Huguenots were caught, the body would be seized and dragged through the streets as an example to
It
others.
was buried here, but you're going to see it's here. Are you okay?
Yes, it's...
Okay, I'm holding your arm.
You?
Why is it still hidden away like this?
It's a souvenir. We want to keep it that way because just to
that's
remind
how it
us
was.
that how it was and how it was hard to live one's faith at that time.
Yeah. I just didn't realise how bad it was for them. I knew nothing about that. I knew nothing about
the
state of the Huguenots.
secrecy of
the
their religion.
I didn't know they got persecuted. Well, I knew nothing.
No, I
About
don't
that.
know.
When you hear
Really
they
moving.
went to England because of persecution, it's words. You don't really understand at all what they went through. And look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is it's really sad. I couldn't imagine having to bury my relatives.
In secret.
It's awful.
Julia's back in London. She's come to see her father to find out about his side of the family. Nadim is an actor. He was born in Jordan in the Middle East, a country with a rich Bedouin tradition.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Oh,
Nice to see you. Lovely.
She wants to ask about his mother, also called Julia. Julia Sr. broke away from her tribe to become a successful businesswoman.
My mother was so ambitious. She was so active, so industrious. She said the tribal way of life is being torn apart by the impact of the modern world. So don't hang on to Bedouinism.
Really?
And don't hang on to tribalism, because that fabric is being torn to pieces.
Really?
Therefore, yeah, go to school, go to university, go to college and learn. Don't rely on the tribe to hold your hand, because the tribal way of life is disappearing fast.
So now what does Bedouin actually mean?
I think by telling you the opposite of Bedouin is the town dweller.
The town
The
dweller.
opposite of the Bedou. The
Okay.
Bedou is the tent
Oh, is it?
dwellers, yes. And my father, lived most of his life as a Bedou, as a tent dweller. He dismissed all the modern conceptions that we adopted.
I remember being taken to see Grandad, and you put my hand in his hand. This is when he was blind. And you said, "This is Julia."
Yes.
And he threw my hand and he said, "What do I want to speak to her for?" Thinking that I was my grandmother. Now, did they not get on? Did they love each other?
No,
They didn't love each other.
no, because love as understood by Western people is not love as understood by Eastern people. Love in Eastern society comes from respect, and from a long period of familiarity. This idea of romantic love as practiced in the West is, as far as the society I come from, was nonsense.
So now, I've seen this photograph here before. I want
Have
to
you?
know why Grandmother scratched her face out. So I find that very creepy.
A rebellious woman is always full of disapproval of what society does. And I think her rebellion against the system of life she had to live made her disapprove of all the people around her. And when she was stuck in that picture amongst all these people, she said, "No,
Wow, that's amazing.
no."
I'd like to know about where my grandmother got balls from, And I'd even like to see a house or something where they grew up, or just go to an area, see what she saw, see the views that she saw when she got up in the morning, what oppressed her, what gave her incentive to carry on.
Jordan is in the middle of a politically volatile region, but has developed into one of the most liberal and secular societies in the Middle East. Most of Jordan's population are descended from Bedouin tribes. In this nomadic culture, family history is handed down orally.
This journey is going to be quite different because there aren't any documents here. My dad doesn't even really know his birth date. We think it's around the 7th to the 9th of September, but just that as an example. So it's all going to have to be storytelling, I suppose, which is what the Arabs are known for, really.
Today, the Bedouin way of life has largely given way to a modern westernized state. Julia's grandmother took advantage of this massive change. In the 1940s, she moved from a traditional tribal community to the capital, Amman. Remarkably, she began a string of businesses, including an ice cream factory and a Western-style hair salon. In the 1950s, she became the first woman in Jordan to build and run her own hotel. Flouting tradition, she even dared join the All-Male Hoteliers Association. And in 1991, her ability to push boundaries was recognized by an award from Queen Noor. Before she died in 1994, Julia would visit her grandmother at her hotel. The last time she came was 15 years ago.
Gosh, it's so different. It's a restaurant. Do you take it for granted when you're little, or you just think, oh yeah, I'm going to my grandmother's hotel, you know, but God, she must have... What an incredible thing to do, to own your own hotel as a woman, you know. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was very strange when I visited my grandmother here, because she didn't speak English. I mean, very, very little. So I had quite an odd relationship with her. It was sort of an eye contact relationship. And I always felt like she was staring right through me, like she could see right into my soul. She used to stare me out, and I always used to stare back, straight back at her. And we would stare and stare and stare at each other, and then she'd sort of get this wry smile and just look at me and just think, OK, you've won, you know. And I'd be like, but she'd grab you and kiss you. And when she held on to your hand, there was a vice-like grip.
A friend of Julia's father knew Julia Sr. when she was running the hotel.
Ahlan. Hi.
Michael.
How are you, Julia?
Julia.
At the time, Michael Harmonet was setting up the Ministry of Tourism. He and Julia Sr. came from the same small rural town of Madaba.
When she moved to Amman, she built a business that was only for men. To be a hotelier, it is for a man to be a hotelier, not a woman. And to deal with tour operators and travel agents, it needed someone who is strong enough to deal with them. I remember when I was a child, women used to bend when they come near the windows, so as not to be seen by the ones inside, the men.
Really?
So your grandmother was of that time and of that society and of that people. To do now a business was not the rule of the day. Men do business, not women. Women stay home, they cook, they take care of children. But to have their own businesses, no. I think she felt the movement of history. It is proven by moving out of Madaba to Amman. Men didn't move. My father didn't move to Amman. All the people of Madaba didn't move to Amman, but she knew very well that Amman is the developing city. She moved with her family, whether she pleases her husband, her tribe, her grandfather, her father. She didn't care for that. She did what she thought should be done. All that, I believe, for her children, for her family. You know, Julia, I think, had it not been for that Julia, this Julia will not be around. Because she would have stayed in Madaba and she would have finished her life there. And Nadim probably would have stayed in Madaba. So we will not have had the pleasure of having you.
I'd like to know the difference between how the men lived and how the women lived, because that will give me an insight into what my grandmother went through, because she broke the mould for women here. And I think by learning what sort of lives women had, I'll have an understanding of how difficult that must have been for her to break out and change the path for women here. And for me, I suppose, because, I mean, if I'd lived here, I'd be having a very different life if she hadn't done that.
Julia's travelling to Al-Karak in the south of Jordan, the area where her grandmother's tribe originated. Before Julia Senior was born, at the time of her grandparents, the tribe had been nomadic tent dwellers for hundreds of years. Julia is meeting anthropologist Dr. Geraldine Chatelaar.
Hi, Geraldine. Julia Sawalha. Hi.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
Geraldine can tell her about the traditional role of Bedouin women.
Imagine, I mean, this landscape of hills. This is where your tribe would have been.
Really?
Most of the year.
Wow. That's
In their black tents with their herds. And they would go out with their goats and sheep, and some camels even, to these places, which were grazing areas. And they would live under the tent, like Bedouins. And they would live under this black tent, which is made of goat's hair. And this is where the role of the women became so important. Because the women were in charge of all the economic activities of the livestock breeding society. They would take care of the animals. They would milk them. They would make the dairy products, which was the basis of the food of the family. They would fetch the water. They would fetch the firewood, and it's a lot of responsibility because this is what a family lives off. And also, they would literally manufacture the tent. They would spin the wool, and then they would really set up these very nice looms which are on the ground, and they would sit there during their leisure time, and then they would make the house, contrary to probably any other culture in the world where it's men who are stonemasons and who make the house. Among the Bedouins, it's the women who make the house.
So the women were working very, very hard.
One can say that women were working harder than men, actually, in the Bedouin society.
Julia Senior's tribe left behind the nomadic way of life and moved into houses.
You have to take off your shoes.
Today, some tribes still resist the drive towards settlement.
الأصل من الكرك من جهة الأب هي حلة تعرفت قبل شوي إنه أجدادهم كانوا ساكنين ببيوت شهر كمان وهي حبت تشوف كيف الحياة ببيت شهر
الحمد لله إن شاء الله إن شاء الله الحمد لله
Come and sit here. Thank you. مرحبا مرحبا كيفك
I heard that some Bedouins have mobile phones now and televisions. Is that?
بتقول انه سمعت انه في بعض البدو هلا بيستعملوا الخلوي تليفون الخلوي وعندهم تلفزيونات وكل شيء
بتشربوا لبن مخيط بتعرفوا انت بتشربوا لبن مخيط
Instead of answering your question, she asks us if you want to drink some goat milk. أنا بشرب بس ما بعرف. You want to drink?
I'll try it.
يلا خلينا نجرب يلا.
روحي يمي ها.
That's a lot.
بس أنا متعودة أكثر منها يعني. شكرا. شو رأيك يا حاج؟ طبعا عنا في هذا من عندكم من حلالكم هاي يعني. Exactly. It's how would you call it in English?
It tastes like feta cheese, actually.
It's basically sour milk, you know, and they put it in a goat skin. The women, it's a women's job, and they move it like that, you know. They shake it until it becomes sour.
A little bit too much information, thanks. Thank you. A guy in there said to me, I hope you're not making a film about how bad the Arabs are and saying that we're all terrorists. And as I looked at him and said, no, he looked me so deep in the eye, gave me like one of my grandmother looks, you know, because he really genuinely was unsure. So it was nice to reassure him, and I look forward to sending him the DVD. Do you know what he said? I said, do you want it on video or DVD? And he said in Arabic, no, I want to watch it on my computer. What have you got? Apple? I thought that was brilliant.
Julia's now on her way to Madaba, the town where her tribe settled in 1880 and where her grandmother grew up.
It's interesting to me to find out how she knew that she was a businesswoman and had a business head, because I'm not business-minded at all, so nothing like that would ever cross my mind. And it would be nice to find out what were her inspirations, and what made her want to get out of a tiny village and come to the town, because that's a brave thing to do.
When Julia Senior was born, her tribe had lived in houses in Madaba for just 30 years. Her generation had much less to do than their nomadic grandmothers. There was no tent to build or farming to be done, so women's lives became more domesticated. This new role was not enough for Julia.
You see, this building is where your grandmother used to live. But her house was not like
Julia's meeting a distant relative, Shabib Sawalha, who's an expert in their family's history.
most of the Sawalha family were living here.
Would my dad have lived here as well?
For sure he was living here. He born here, maybe in Madaba. Yes, sure.
Julia Senior's tribe lived in a cluster of connected buildings. Cousins, aunts, uncles and grandparents all lived together communally.
هلا ابو عودي مرحبا ابو عودي هلا كيف الصحة؟ تفضل تفضل ابو عودي اهلا وسهلا نعرفك على جوليا صوالحة بنت نديم طبعا هي بنت عمك يعني طبعا ابو عودي انت اللي اشتريت البيت تبع جدتها بالضبط He was the man who bought the property of your grandma.
So did he know my grandmother then?
Sure, yeah. انت بتعرف جوليا مرار
ما له كيف العادة.
So what? He knows it very well. Yeah, sure.
زي ما بيقولوا كانت سابقة وقتها.
She was looking for the future more than anybody else. And even he says that she was preceding her generation.
Really?
Yeah.
When Julia Marar was in her mid-teens, a traditional Bedouin marriage was arranged to Julia's grandfather, Joachim Sawalha, who was part of the same tribe. The couple moved into this house, on the top of the hill, close to their families. It was here that Julia began her first business, making men's clothes which she sold in her husband's shop. The business flourished. Julia made enough money to move her family to the capital. Julia and her interpreter Zaid Audat are visiting two women who worked for her grandmother in the clothing business.
بتذكروها هاي جوليا وهي شالت صورة وجهها لأنها ما كانت تحب الصورة.
هذول صور قديمات كثير يعني. في منهم من المرار ناس حلو ما كان بالمسح.
She's saying that she had a very pretty face. She should have not rubbed it away.
Zakia and Rashnia were part of the same tribal community.
جوليا ما اقتنعت في هالحكي. جوليا قالت هذا تعب ما في دخل. كانت تحب الفايدة بدها. هي بتركض وين في شغلة تستفيد منها مصاري.
They used to weave carpets together. If you wanted a carpet in your house, they would all come and help you to do the carpet. And then they would leave to the next house and do the same thing over and over again. So your grandmother did not like this Bedouin tradition. And she said, I don't care about what others think. I want to do my own thing. If they want to weave together, it's their business, not mine. Yeah.
So she would sit weaving a rug on her own?
فيعني بتسوي لحالها سجادة جوليا كانت ولا تشتريها؟
لا تشتري مشترى.
No, she used to buy it.
مش غير من الجمال. بجوز كانوا يغيروا منها يحسدوها انها عندها حرية توسع مشاريع.
Okay. Your grandmother used to live in a, let's call it a compound with her
in Madaba?
Yeah, okay. With her other family members. And they used to all like gossip in the afternoon, sit together, have a coffee and chat. And she used to always be occupied in her business. She left those people alone and she said, I don't care if they want to gossip, it's their life. I want to make money. All Bedouins lived in a certain way, but Julia and your grandfather tried to create something different and they opened a shop. So they diverted away from traditional Bedouin culture or life. Some other people used to say, like, this woman is not taking care of her house, her husband, her poor husband. He's supposed to be the one in charge, but she's the one dominating the relationship. And they used to get, they used to, like, you know, be surprised how a woman at that time can do these things.
It sounds to me like my grandfather was sort of supporting her in a quiet way, because he had a shop and let her sell her things in his shop, and then he gave her pieces of land to sell. So that must have been very difficult for him as well, to take a back seat. And it's when my dad was talking about, you know, love here and love in the Western world is a completely different thing, and my grandfather and grandmother had respect for each other, and he must have respected her deep down enormously, and being forced by his elders to try and control her whilst at the same time respecting her must have been very hard for him. But she was obviously such a strong character that nothing was going to stand in her way.
Before leaving for the airport, Julia has one last stop to make. Her father's friend, Michael, has found something she's never seen before. After Julia Sr. received her award in 1991, Jordanian television made a film about her life.
I don't know how...
You're like my dad. My dad can never work anything.
Okay. You don't need this one?
I need it.
I really don't know how to play.
I know, it's just like Dad. Yeah.
This is Madaba, and today is something of an occasion because Julia Sawalha is revisiting the town where she was born 84 years ago. Having trodden paths unknown to Jordanian women of her generation, Julia has become a legend in her lifetime. We're privileged today to accompany her as she takes a journey into the past. Julia, I've got some photographs now. This was the time you were running the hotel? Yes. You were at a conference, were you, about hotels?
Yes.
And I can see you're the only lady here amongst all these men.
Yes.
Yes? And here are the Dean's daughters, Nadia and Julia. Julia has your name, doesn't she?
Yes.
She's Julia Sawalha.
Yes, Julia Sawalha.
Now, what is Julia doing now in London?
Drama.
She's doing drama.
Yes.
She's become a television and cinema star, hasn't she?
Yes, television and cinema.
She's becoming quite well known in London.
Very, very.
Yes, very, very well known.
Yes.
It hasn't really sunk in for me yet what my grandmother did. Because I'm a modern woman and everything has been so easy for me, so easy. I'm finding it really hard to appreciate what a hard shell she must have had to give herself to protect herself. What else can one say but that I'm proud, really proud. When I first met my partner, I said I'm half Arabic, and he said, yeah, but you're not really, are you? And I was really hurt inside. Something really jarred in me, and I just thought, I am. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know how to describe that. And I don't know why I feel I am, but now I really know why I am, because I understand my tribe. I have a tribe. I come from a tribe. And it's just been wonderful to learn about my grandmother, how strong she was. She was doing it for her children, and I have benefited from that, and I'm very grateful to her.